Right, so guys here are 4 stories, and we have a special little podcast today, I think, don't we? It's a bit of a special one for us.
Well,
personally.
yeah.
We are here down at Hank Studios. We are here with John. We are here with Marie and Owen, if I got the names right here. Yes. So we're going to have a little word with the guys here at the stunts team. Going to get a little bit of what the life is like with the whole stunts and stuff. So I think you can kick it in. And
yeah, well, the way I was thinking was, how did it start for you? Where did it start? Was it a childhood thing? Was it something accidental?
Well, for myself, it was, I can always remember being a kid growing up. I loved The Princess Bride.
Yes.
Great film, and just watching that, I kind of always wanted to be in a movie. So I got involved with extra work in 2003, and from there I kind of wanted to step it up, so I got into acting. And stunts kind of just, I fell into stunts. I was doing acting, and we got into stage combat, and we were doing that for so long, and a guy called Paul Burke, he actually is the head of the stunt register now. He was teaching us in the Gaiety school. And we got in with him, he trained us up, and from that I just literally fell into stunts, and it's been more stunts than acting over the last few years.
Yeah, no, that's great. And Maria?
Yeah, my story was kind of, I won't say an accident, but I kind of happened into stunts through acting. So I went into acting back in, it was only 7 years ago.
Right.
I had a very normal kind of run. I went to college. I went on a totally different tangent, and then I went into acting. I just kind of turned it on its head. I was like, no, if I was kind of looking at, I was actually going to buy a house. So that's kind of what back years ago, and that's what kind of was if I do that, I'm never going to have the chance. I'm never going to have the freedom to be able to try acting and try stunts. So I was like, right, okay. And I haven't looked back. And it was acting first. I went to the Irish Film Academy in Dublin, and I did a year there, and then I was like, right, okay. And that's where I was introduced to stage combat. And then through stage combat, I started training with John and loads more. It just kind of rolled on from there. I was always sporty. I was always kind of I never was.
You were
really
always
taking
the
a
real
knock.
athlete kind of person.
Yeah. So it wasn't I think, and it's either for you or it's not. You see a lot of people come and they dip their toe and they're kind of ooh, I don't know, and that's totally cool. That's fine. It's either for you or it's not. You either kind of have the banter while you're kind of getting.
It's whether you can put up with the rain on a set in the back weather.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the long days and the bad fields.
The muck, yes.
Yeah. The muck and all that.
The muck are the best part.
Yeah. The scraps in the muck, Yeah, so that's me anyway.
Yeah, and yourself?
Same as all the lads, really. Through acting, doing acting, it was never on the radar to do stunts. And then through acting, Jay was teaching us, who's another member of the studio, and he was basically teaching me in acting, and then he came down and was like, do you want to join and do a trial with his kind of stage combat school? And through that just kind of fell into it, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll be one of those actors who does their own stunts,
and like a Tom Cruise or Jackie Chan,
and I'll be able to go on set and
I love him,
be able to say, oh yeah, I can do a fight scene, or I can do that because I got trained, and not just be total novice at it. And then kind of over the years realised, you can actually do the acting career and the stunt career at the same time, and they kind of work off each other simultaneously. And they can be a bit of a symbiotic relationship, is that one can fuel the other, or even that can, I don't know about you guys, but I've gone on some big sets not through acting. I would never get on those big sets at all with acting, but I have been there through stunts.
Stunts has opened a lot of doors in that respect.
Well, I know the lad that played Rolo, Clive, he was actually a stuntman and became an actor. So I do know that and as an actor he wasn't allowed to do certain things, even though he was a qualified stunt because of insurance, as I remember. Did you all have a combat background in martial arts or anything like that?
Growing up, I had kickboxing, I had soccer. I was very active as a teenager and kid, and again, it was just love for acting, and I was always afraid to do it. Got involved, and I said, through that stage combat led to stunts.
I did a tiny bit of fencing when I was in secondary school. So that was the only sword. Like, I don't even know if like
Fencing.
Yeah.
That's different. You wouldn't hear many people say they do fencing.
Bruce Lee was a big fan of fencing.
Yeah.
Believed it taught fundamentals.
No, I did. Like, I mean, but that I nearly, not that I'd forgotten about it, but like that, like my two loves. I danced growing up and I played football, so I had movement in my body, kind of thing, and. But as opposed, like coming from a combat background, probably not. Like I did kickboxing, but that was more like as like a to keep fit. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose just kind of fell in love with the rough and tumble of it. Like.
No, is my answer.
No, he's honest.
I remember going off the acting. I was doing it in college. All I wanted was to be an actor. Shakespeare was all I cared about, and stunts was nothing to do with anything I was even thinking of. I knew, sure, it's a career that people do, but that's not what I want. And it was only because I started doing it in college and realised I can actually do this okay, that I was like, okay, maybe it's a possible side avenue. But it meant I had no martial arts experience before that. I had nothing. I was sporty, played sports as a kid, but I remember the first class coming to Jay and I couldn't even dumbbell straight. And I was going over it and be coming out of it that way. And he's like, it's impressive how wrong you are. Like, your physics doesn't make sense. I was totally a beginner. And I didn't even know if I was going to last in. I was like, oh, I'll just do it as a side thing, or I'll do it as an actor who can go on set and it'll look nice on my CV kind of thing. And then realised through just hard work.
Lots of training.
Great if you can deal with the rainy days on set and the mud, if you can just deal with just the hardness of it and the pain that comes with like smacking your body and that conditioning, like it's just a lot of hard work. But I didn't think I was for it, and it was only through pushing myself to see would I be able to last that I realised I was actually found a passion then for it. You know,
it's a funny thing. I've over my life noticed people, and sometimes there's people that are natural at things and you would think they will progress, but they don't actually. It's the people that maybe find it harder, that invest in themselves and realise actually, oh, I'm not, and they'll put in the work, and after a time period you see the people suppress people that are considered naturally talented. I thought hard work never always pays off.
Sure. What was it? Chris Hadfield, the astronaut, was saying early success is the killer for anybody wanting to do anything successfully, because you're just naturally gifted, you give up or you stop trying.
Yeah, that's very true.
No,
if you're bad at something within
I understand it, within your own self,
but if you are dedicated to it, you put the work in, they're the ones who outpass everybody else,
Like, we have Victoria Stage Combat here as well, and that's run by Jay Cosgrave. Now, we help him out an awful lot, but it's basically run by him. But like the students we've had come in through the door, and some you kind of look at themselves, they're giftedly talented, and it's like you just watch them, like they just have it, and then others don't have it, but when you see them put the work in, the determination to get it there, and when they're getting there, like Owen, he said, I never thought I'd do this, but now he's on big sets and he's able to do this because he put the work in. He's like, no, I'm putting my head down and I'm just getting to it.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
With your training, because like the training is a big factor for you guys, because there's so many things that can go wrong when you do stunts. Like your falls, they could go completely bad. Fires, they can go completely wrong. What's the training like with all this? How many years of training have you really done itself for any of this stuff? Like
myself, I've been doing this I've been acting since 2004. Stage combat I started 2006, maybe the end of 2005, and through that stunt wise I've been doing it since 2011, 2010. But training is constant. You have to train. You have to get your body, like it says, like there's days when we haven't done anything for 2 or 3 months and we come in here, and after a day, like me and Marie were doing a fight scene for a coordinator who were trying to get on Dungeons and Dragons, and we hadn't trained in about 4 or 5 weeks.
I became like Betty Crocker over
Yes.
COVID and I just started baking. Yeah, that was rough coming back.
We came in and trained for one day, and the following day we couldn't move.
Yeah.
Really?
We were taking hits and bumps all day long. We're like, we're used to this.
We went out to put in big moves,
Yes.
and because if you're
You
not
went all
conditioned,
out like
Yeah.
It's like,
And
oh,
because
God.
we hadn't trained and had our body used to that for a few weeks, we felt it the next day. So it's constant training. Like I've been fortunate enough to train all over Europe. I trained with the European Stunt School, Stunts 360. Great bunch of guys. They're the biggest at the moment. They're the biggest production of stunts in Scandinavia. Jakob, who runs it, he is an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Taught me everything I know about fire. So without him, I wouldn't be here.
Really?
Yeah.
Same.
And on the training as well, I think like you come here repeatedly, like you go, like this is kind of becomes your hub, like your home, and it becomes like almost like a beat, like a rhythm, because everything, there's life happening outside of your work and your training as well, but like if you have to make it part of like the rhythm of your life kind of thing to kind of keep conditioned, and because this sort of training is entirely different to like going to the gym and like pressing and pushing weights and that kind of way, like that is really important. Like you do need to do that, because if you don't do that, like I know I've lost weight for roles and I've come in here and I don't feel as conditioned, or I don't feel as strong, and then you feel it, like it's your body. So but then obviously it comes down to technique as well. You learn how to fall properly, you learn how to take these hits so that you can do it repeatedly and not hurt yourself. But it does take an awful lot of graft. And you have to love it, because they're like, I think we have the longest winters here, like where you're like, you could be like walking the train, you're like a drowned rat, and you're coming in, it's cold, and you just have to shake it off and kind of go, like it's not always like fair weather. It's not like
not especially in
metaphorically
Ireland.
as well. Yeah,
Especially in Ireland, like as in the favourite weather is overcast.
Overcast. I love
They love overcast.
Yeah.
There was a question I was going to ask now, and it's one for the viewers, is the difference between, let's say, filming a stunt, let's say a combat section, and actually something that's realistic. Because according to what I've looked into, if things are done too realistic, it does not even pick up on camera.
No. So when we're shooting a fight, there's a thing where you kind of like, you can put a fight together, and don't get me wrong, in real life you could say to yourself, going, okay, your man has a knife, he's going to stab you, you're dead within 10 seconds.
Yes.
But there's a whole thing where it's for Hollywood, so you have to make it look bigger and more complicated than what it is, and you can put together a 10, 15, 20 beat fight where in real life it wouldn't really last that. But you do it for camera to make it look good, like Tom Cruise doing his bathroom scene fight in the last Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Like technically your man could have killed them in 10 moves at most. They made that film 10-15 minutes that whole fight's in.
Yeah,
So you have to make it look good for camera.
Something reminiscent of that was the Jason Bourne when they were doing the knife fight.
Yes.
And it's a fantastic scene. But as you said, like if you actually look at the statistics,
in real life it wouldn't work. But again, for film and for camera, to make it look good for the audience go, that was brilliant. You have to make it look bigger than what it is.
Also, just with that, like there's psychology behind the fight as well. So okay, you could just have like a scene in a movie where like a thug comes up and like it's a throwaway character, but like generally like each character that's in a fight has a storyline, and they might be it could be coming to the end of somebody's storyline, and you have to kind of play those characters' beats. It's not just like, okay, this is all about this fight right now, like you know what I mean, like there might be a story behind each character, and like throughout the fight, like fights communicate something as well, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's about like it's trying to, I suppose, have a fight long enough for that to kind of facilitate that as well.
You're telling the story of the fight.
And of these two characters, or three or four.
If you have a fight scene that's too short, there's not a lot of character development unless you choose as your writer or director to have that be bang 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 bang. Example off the top of my head, just go off Star Wars and whatever.
Star Wars,
You can go with the fights in Star Wars, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Duel Fates, whatever about the techniques and all stuff like that, but you're having the stories out there, and then you go and flip it on its head with Darth Maul and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, and they go bang bang, it's done. So you're taking the choice then of making the story of the fight what you want it to be, and it can be this long overarching thing, or it can be a short thing, but you have to tell the story of the fight. You have to have the characters invested in what they're doing.
But like one of the examples of that for me was the Rocky films. Because like we went through the emotions of the character. He's a defeated man. It's the hero's journey, I think.
Yeah.
And the fight scene there is the hero's journey. We all know he's going to go into a moment where he gets his flashback to get him up and do something. But I think that's why I love it. Because like if I actually watch a boxing match, it never goes like that.
Yeah, no.
On the exception of Tyson Fury, he actually fights like Rocky.
Yes.
Yeah.
He loses, he gets knocked down, he comes up.
Have the music playing.
That was a phenomenal fight. That's the thing. I was like, when he gets sat back up, I was like, whoa.
The Wilder fight.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
I think, as you said, that is character because he's had so many demons.
Yeah.
He is trying to put them to bed.
Yes.
And that's him fighting it. But
His character has to struggle, you know? Or, and another thing that I always kind of liked about fights, what makes a good fight is you got to keep causing problems for the other character or your partner in the fight. That's what makes it interesting. So if you're always causing a problem, someone has to, it's basically, you got to kill them, stop it, but you keep causing problems, you escalate that makes the fight interesting and it grows.
It's like every fight is a story.
We have to tell the story of the fight, and the fights that don't work, that are kind of fall flat, are the ones that the story wasn't as important as making something flashy.
Yeah.
You know?
And also it's like fighting clever as well.
Yes.
So like if you have like a really slight like small girl,
yes.
and then you have this huge brute of a guy, and like it's like you're looking at them and you're going strength, okay, if he gets her it's like one hit and she could be down. So like she may have to fight clever, whereas he's using his brute force and weight and, you know, the weight behind his punches and whatever. So she has to get in under, and, you know, she like it's agility versus, you know, sheer strength. And
just like the Prey. Have you ever seen the Prey film?
Prey film?
Yeah.
At the end of it,
Yeah.
where she knows she won't physically beat him hand-to-hand combat, but she just uses the intelligence she has, and that's how it managed to work. So that's
And I got slated, and I thought it was a great film.
I thought it was great.
I really enjoyed it. I think at the time people were afraid that it was identity politics and they didn't give the film a chance.
Yeah.
Because actually one of the we talked about in the review, one of my favourite things about that film is when it comes out on DVD, they filmed all the scenes in Comanche, where the Comanche people talk.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll be actually able to watch it and listen to Comanche.
I didn't know that.
And it's like one of the first films filmed in Comanche. And I just think that's great. Like,
Yeah.
give them back.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were going to take Native American culture and wishy-wash it into a modern.
Yeah.
No, total respect. So I think respect to a material is good. You know.
yeah.
I'm going to kick down memory lane, which is a little bit, right? A little bit of good memories here, right? So, while the stunts, as you would say, that they're really dangerous to do. If you don't do them well, the worst case scenario could happen. So, what's the worst thing that has happened to you while doing a stunt?
There's been a few. I've been in the middle of a fight, and I was on Vikings season 5, I think it was, and I dislocated my elbow. Now, thank God, now I work with some great people. Like, I was fighting Kieran O'Grady at the time, and he knew something was up. So basically, it was my shield arm that like just went on me, and I had to drop the shield, and I was able to fight him safely with just a sword. And then after the take, he's like, "What happened?" Like, he knew there was something wrong with me. I explained it to him. He's like, "Right, from now on, we're just going to fight with no." So I left the shield down for the rest of the day, and went home, took painkillers, and was able to get into the hospital and get her.
You kept going.
Had to.
Yeah. And what did he do? Did he reset your arm? Or?
Please just click it back in. It's a
So
horrible
you
stuff.
dislocated in the middle of fighting him with
Yeah.
the shield, but you couldn't have stopped. You kept going. So you
Had to
just
keep
dropped
on.
the shield and kept
Yeah.
going with it.
So basically, now I wouldn't say it's on camera, but you would see me drop my arm, and I just couldn't lift the shield.
Yeah.
So as soon as I done that, my fight partner goes, "Okay, there's something wrong. He knew." So because I had my shield arm down, he just kept attacking me where my sword would be. So after when I yelled cut, he's like, "What happened?" I explained it to him, and he's like, "Okay." So for the rest of the day, and other stunt performers around me when I was fighting them as well, we'd always kind of like, "Okay, you've no shield, so we will go to your sword arm." My worst injury was actually in training. Is I came off of high fall of, I think it was just under 10 meters. I was explaining to you earlier on. Is I got off the high fall off the air mat, and as I tripped over to tan and done my ankle in. I was off my ankle for over a month.
And I'd say that's a pain because you really want to get into it, but you can't do anything. You're sitting down, you can't do much. Like
nothing. And even coming in here, even just to take a break, and you're injured, you come here to watch training.
And it hurts you because you're not doing it. Like yeah.
I was on set one time and I chipped and cracked my bone here. So, but the best thing about that is the fight coordinator knew this.
Yeah.
So the next day on set, he gave me a role where I was just lying in the grass all day long. And they slit me throat in the scene. I'm just lying there all day long. Don't have to do anything. So you get great coordinators like that. You know, if you're injured, you're still out the next day. Goes right. Look, I'll give you a break. So all you're going to do is small little fight, slit your throat, and you're just going to lie down there for the day.
Brilliant.
So
Kind of makes it a bit easier for you as well. Like.
So,
what about yourself, Murray?
I can't think. I haven't had anything disastrous happen, thankfully.
Well,
yeah.
You're
Anyway,
you're not a real stunt person then.
I know. I mean, like
You're no Jackie Chan. He's broke every bone in his body.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that though. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Like,
He's not well now.
No, I suppose. I mean, like you get tags. I mean, sometimes, like, I mean, especially when you're on a set. Like, I mean, you can rehearse something in a studio, and it can be down to a T, and everybody knows their steps, everybody knows their marks, things like that. But when you move it to location and you put the weather with it, like you could be fighting like in a mud bath. You could be, you know, the ground could be moving from under. You could be stony and sandy, and you know. People slip, like everybody that I've worked with is so well trained, they're so professional, but like people slip, stuff happens, you know?
Yeah, natural.
But no, I think the worst
You
tag
grazed
I
your
got.
elbow or something.
No, I dislocated, or not dislocated, I don't know what I did, my knuckles, my hand, I got an awful whack on the hand, and I couldn't for the rest of the like those takes on that fight, I just couldn't feel it. I was like, I can't even like hold the shield properly. But like, I mean, boohoo, like that's, you know, there's nothing. Thankfully, there's nothing
serious.
Yeah, and just like there was one day I remember actually coming to the end of the last season of Valhalla. I was feeling so unwell, and it was just me. Like I was just like, but your team rally around you. Like I love that. Like about like if you have the right team, like you know, like you when in between takes, take you downtime, like there's always somebody that's going to like run and get you water, or run and get you like Motilium or whatever it is that you might need, like, and that's what I love, like, you know, if you have a good team, like
it makes your job that bit easier.
Yeah, like you look out for each other, like it is really, really good, like when you have the right people around you. So yeah.
Talking about injuries, I did my knee in a few years ago. I tore the cartilage in my knee doing a stunt, and was out of action for a while for that. And it's injury, I guess, is another big part of our job. Is like at some point you will probably get injured doing a stunt, because what we do is the nature of dangerous nature stuff. So training is the most important thing, so that you train so that you don't get hurt. But some things will go wrong, or you on a stunt, maybe your focus is shifted a little bit and you haven't fallen the right way, and boom, all of a sudden you tear your cartilage in your knee. And it's how you come back from injury.
Yeah, because that's real. That can affect you really mentally, like, you know.
I was so depressed. Like, so I was working in a day job as well that was going bad, and wasn't having fun, and I couldn't exercise, so you couldn't get any endorphins. Couldn't do anything I enjoyed doing that gave my life happiness. And I go into work in the dark and come out in the dark, and it was all this bad cloud over me and this injury. But how I bounced back was an old childhood friend of mine, Marcus Lawler, was going for the Olympics, and he got an injury, and he, I think, tore like all the muscles in his leg, which meant he's worked his whole life for the Olympics, can't go. So when I heard about that, and I was like, okay, it kind of puts things into perspective that like you are always training for that next big job, which to us is like our Olympics, because that could be the next massive thing that comes in the country, or you're always trying to get that next job, and you're always training to go bigger with your stunts and go higher with your falls.
So the main thing, sorry, keep going.
But how you bounce back from an injury is what means either you finished your career after one job, or you make a career out of it, you know. It's how you look after yourself, and how you bounce back, but also how you come back to whatever that stunt was that injured you. You have the fear to overcome as well, you know.
Yeah, no, we did talk a lot about combat stunts, but there is a huge array, as you were saying, falls. So it wouldn't always be a combat related fall. I know there's issues do fire. That's a big thing. I know driving and things can be a part of it, and the whole lot. So if you could talk about, like, you know, obviously we've talked about combat, but like the other ends of stunts that you do.
Yeah, so basically we would have, so years ago, like say Paul Burke, the head of the register, would come back from America. He's living there now, and he'd train us all up on different types of, like, again, we stage combat, it's all unarmed stuff, it's all weapon stuff. So he came back from America and was able to train us up to do high falls. He'd start off at like 10 feet, 16 feet, and I'll go all the way up to like 33 feet, which is 10 meters. Small fire burns, and ratchets, jerkbacks, all stuff like this. And then from there, a few of us, like I know myself, like I said, went to the European Stunt School. I went to Stunts 360, and I was able to get more experience with fire. And I trained in that for 7 years before coming back here and going, okay, look, I'm going to do it here. It's not an easy stunt to do. It's a very frightening stunt. But the best thing about myself and my crew is we keep everything as safe as we can.
Yes.
I'm never going to say it's 100% safe, because if I do it, it's a lie.
Yes.
It's fire, you can't control fire.
Yeah.
But we will keep you as safe as possible. The worst burn I've ever done, I was on a boat on Valhalla, and I got a little lick on the back of my ear. But that's the worst, out of 7 years, it's the worst I've ever been burnt in a fire stunt. And like that, it's a burn blister will go after a week.
No, that is like a great attitude, because I think if you look at for instance, the Rust movie, and if you're looking into what happens there, the basic safeties weren't done, and unfortunately people got hurt. Do you know that way? And when you look into it, as you said, safety first.
Yeah, like I was working on Kin, and again is the safety around the weapons on Kin season 2 is. Obviously it has to be that way after that film. It was just, the safety was unbelievable. The armour, I made sure the weapons were empty, checked every time it was yelled action. They were checked just before he yelled action. Every time he yelled cut, he'd take the guns off us and just double check. And like I said, even though nothing was ever loaded, he would still show you, safety wise, it has to be that way.
I think that procedure's there, because if you even look at Brandon League, we lost someone that could have done so much.
Phenomenal actor,
phenomenal martial artist.
Yes, from the family he was in.
Yeah.
You know, and I think safety is a huge thing.
Yeah. Now we kind of get into, because you've been kind of mentioning some of, like mentioning Valhalla, Kin and all. So what have you been working on? What kind of projects have you worked on?
I'm lucky enough. I've been doing it long enough. I've actually been able to go outside the country and do some stuff. Like I was on a thing called Waldman in Norway for a month, Dublin, an actor up there. Last thing I was working on was Valhalla season 3. Right. I've been on Cocaine Bear, WWE, the Marine 6.
Oh yeah.
Shot that in London. Kin season 2 I'm just finished up on. Obviously Vikings, Valhalla, a few Good Men Are Hard to Find, something like that. It's what's the name of that one? We shot that up in Galway with John Cusack.
Oh God, no, that's good.
So because I'm lucky enough, because I've been doing so long, I've been on some big productions.
Brilliant. That's great for you, for yourself. Like all the experience you've done, and some of the actors I'd say you've met, and the networking as well, it'd be fantastic for yourself.
Yes, it is. But yeah, it's great to have all that.
Yeah, and then Maria, yourself, what have you worked on?
I have not been in it as long. And I think, I came in here and I trained hard. I kind of grafted and I bided my time. I think I had to like really learn to practice patience, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to come in and pay my dues before I get out and set. So I kind of came in at the very end of Vikings. So and I actually was doing extras work on that, because like I was so new to everything. I came from a science background. Like I just was like following my heart with this one. So I went in and was doing extras, and purely to like sit and like just watch how a set works. Watch everybody learn the lingo, kind of listen and go, okay, what are they doing? So that was actually great, because when I got on the stunt team then for Valhalla, I had done my training here. I had spent my time on different sets. Like it wasn't just Vikings. I was doing extras work on lots of different stuff, and it is great
and stuff, was it?
Yeah, but like even non-action stuff. Like it's just and you start to meet all different crew members or whatever. So, but yeah, and training here then as well. So I kind of had both aspects covered. So when I got on to sets, like that was very helpful. But yeah, so like I've had mostly it's been Valhalla, which has been amazing, and I've been able to kind of progress even through that. A couple of I've done the Ireland Crima. It's an Irish crime story. It's a German TV series. It's actually coming back.
Okay.
I did a day on that, playing a guard. and that was with squib vest, so like bullet hits.
Oh
like,
yeah,
real
very
cool.
good, very good.
Not like the real old school.
No,
like,
but yeah.
What else? God, I can't like. We done The Wonder with Florence Pugh. We were doing fire safety on that. I got the last duel, but I didn't actually get to do it in the end. Because all these things, like you have these big productions come in, so like everybody kind of rallies, and you're like putting out your work and you're auditioning for it. So it's great to land them, like. But I am still. I suppose with 3 or 4 years under my belt, I would probably be considered relatively new, but.
You seem hungry though, and that's important.
I am, yeah.
I think that's important. Always
and
be hungry.
COVID happened like at such. I really was like finding momentum, and then like for everybody, I know COVID happened to everybody, and everything shut down. But like it really did throw kind of a mental wobbler, like because I was thinking, oh God, like like you feel like you've lost the best part of 2 years, and okay, we were lucky enough to get working again, like kind of towards the end of 2020, but it was hard, but like this year definitely I've kind of realigned, and I'm kind of going, okay, I know exactly what I'm going for now again, and so but yeah, that's kind of I have more credit. I have like lots of shorts, lots of features that are
look, as I said, I it's funny, I've looked into people and you don't see them for years, and they have a thing called the iceberg effect, that everybody sees the top of the iceberg, they don't realise the bottom of the iceberg. So you actually see people like even Samuel L. Jackson and Morgan Freeman, they weren't taken seriously till they got this little role. I think it was one role when he was Wesley Snipes' brother. He was a drug addict, and that started him off, and then we now have, everybody knows it, but like people do forget that for years he was toiling away, you know?
It doesn't just happen, like maybe the like 0.001% it might happen to somebody, but there is so much graft, and there's so much like there's all these choices coming to you that you kind of go, you're saying yes to everything, and you're trying to do everything, and it's that one thing that will kind of hopefully get you going, and then they go, oh my gosh, she's done all this too, like I
know. Yourself, what have you been in?
Same as the guys, Valhalla, the 3 seasons of Valhalla. See, and we did a few days in the last duel, and we worked with Florence Pugh and The Wonder. So I, as Marie, am still relatively new to the game, a few years. And with those few years, you just try load yourself up with as much skills as possible, make yourself attractive to coordinators, and stuff like the fire really for us. I know for myself anyway, I was inspired by John. So when John went off, he worked with the guys in Copenhagen. I was a little bit like, I want to find a niche. I want to find a thing that you can look at me and go, right, that's his thing, because you look at most stunt performers around the world, you'll have like, right, that's their thing. You want someone for rigging, you want that person. You want someone for falls, you go for that team, so and I was kind of ambitious to follow up with John and be like, right, what if we go and create a sort of team, a fire team, and the only way to do that was train up and fire. So I went off. We'd done skin burns with John here, and that kind of, pardon the pun, fueled a sort of passion to go off. So I went off and trained with the same team in Copenhagen, and had to do fire. We came back, and I shadowed John for a while, and I seconded him, and then we trained up Marie, and we started to really create this solid team of fire that could go on set and work anywhere really, and have our system, have our routine, that we go do a burn and you're knowing what the other person is needing before they're even asking for it. So you're just there with the supplies, or you're there with the extinguisher, or anything. You're reading others' minds because you both know
when things are going to play out, so you're already
you're already just in tune with everybody.
It's just a well-oiled machine.
It's a well-oiled machine.
And if you look at anything medieval or pre-medieval, fire's a huge part of it, isn't it? Like even when you look back to Braveheart, it's just a huge part of it, the visual of it, and it was used as a weapon. Fire.
Like what I love about the team is fire is dangerous. Fire will kill you. Like I said, we can't control the fire, but we can control the safety side of it. And thank God we've done hundreds of burns over 2.5 years, have them all on video, and not one person has got injured. Thank God, touch wood. And everyone has said it's amazing how calm my team have kept them. Like, there's times when they're just talking to us, and next when they go, "Oh, I'm on fire now." They completely forget we're prepping them for fire.
Yeah.
We talk to them as we would normally do as we're prepping them, and we have a conversation going with them. It's funny, it's serious, it's asking what they're having for dinner, and it keeps them so calm. And my team, I wouldn't be here without my team. It's just, I love the fact people can come back and go, you know what, I was on fire. I had a girl come over from England, a stunt performer here, the last bank holiday weekend. She'd done a whole day of burns, and she went back to England, and she was telling everyone, like, I can't believe, and even she was texting me for a few days afterwards, how calm she was, how safe she felt, and she wants to come back and do more.
Yeah, she's hoping to come back soon. Yeah.
And that's brilliant, because like one of the stunts I remember very clearly in season 3 in Vikings was at the French wall, when they were getting onto the French wall.
Yes.
Someone had to be complete board and into a water.
Keyboard.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like, it was only meant to be 2 takes, but you had to do multiple takes. And there was some setup, and as I remember on Game of Thrones, there was a huge amount of setup fires.
Yes.
With the because the Walking Dead were essentially only be possible to kill by fire, and there was a huge amount of firework there.
Yeah. I love it. I just love the fact it's so dangerous. It's so, like I said, it can kill you.
Yeah.
But we can be so safe and have everyone turn around and go, I actually really loved that. I was so calm. I forgot I was going on fire.
Yeah.
So it's like driving a motorbike.
Yeah.
You forget that you're driving a motorbike once you get used to it.
Yeah. How dangerous it actually can be.
Yeah.
One mistake and it could be fatal. But like I said, my team and we've trained, and like we train weekly, a few days a week, and it's the stuff we do. And I'm actually glad that a lot of stunt performers have come to me from other countries as well as Ireland and said, look, can you help us and show us how to do this?
Yeah. Now with the Hank Stunts itself, right, this is a little question we are kind of wondering ourselves, okay? Hank Stunts, your name's not Hank.
No.
What's up with the name Hank? What way did that come about?
I actually have to take my sister Mary for this. So it's years ago when I was living at home, and I was only like 17, 16 maybe, and obviously you have hormones and you're a teenage boy. Yeah. So your sister does be annoying you, and I'd be constantly fighting.
Yeah.
And she used to go to me, do you ever see the film Me, Myself and Irene?
Yes.
See, she's like, it's amazing how like you can sit there, you're real quiet, you're watching your TV, but when you annoy you just switch like this, and you're like, so she kept calling me Hank. So as grown up, whenever we get into a fight, we go, where's Hank coming from? And because when you're doing fire, you have to go into a separate frame of mind.
Yeah.
You have to be switched on. I have to be watching everything. It's like a different persona, and it kind of just jokingly from my sister Mary, I was like, oh, Hank. So it just, I didn't really want to use my own name for a stunt company. I just went Hank Stunts, and it's just continued on from there. But all because of my sister Mary.
It's catchy as well.
Yeah.
No, it is.
You should see him on set where you can see, you kind of go into a mode. You're like, right now, man, you're in your stunt mode. You're going to go do the job. You got to be professional and sell it. But you got to have the intensity behind you. Otherwise, the whole thing falls flat. When you fight John on set, you just see the switch behind the eyes, and you're like,
there's Hank.
And it is scary. You just fight him on set, and you just see him, and he's like, oh Jesus. So
don't worry, you can have a laugh and fun on set, but when you're on, you have to be on.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the fire side of things. Like obviously the high falls as well that we've done when the fighting, but when it comes to fire, because it's so dangerous, you have to hit that switch and turn on.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole Hank thing came from, is because like she was like, you can literally switch so fast between John and Hank. From Me, Myself and Irene. Brilliant. So, and she also used to call me Ferris Bueller, because
so are you setting up a Ferris Bueller car lot now or something?
But Hank Stunt, Ferris Bueller is because like every now and again I would skip school, so but that Hank one stuck.
Ferris Bueller Stunts might be a bit of a mouthful as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And how did you start the whole stunt team? What made you just turn around one day and say, I'm going to start my own stunt team, I'm going to do this? And
it wasn't something I actually thought of. It was just basically I went and started studying, like I said, in different places, and I got a love for the fire. I just loved how it's actually very calming. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, you're on fire." How it's like, I'm like, once you can control your mind when you're on fire, so you're able to stand there and if you're on fire, but you have to listen to your body.
Yeah.
You will go through a process of where a few days beforehand, if you're going on fire on set, you'll run the routine you're doing, and you have to have that in your head, because when you're on fire, it could be a case where you can't see anyone around you. So you'll have to have that routine. Okay, I'm taking 2 steps this way, I'm taking 1 step this way, maybe 3 steps back, and you run that with your safety team so they know your steps. But it's amazing how your mind can do that. Even though you're on fire, your whole body's on fire, and your body's listening to, okay, I can feel the heat. If it gets too hot somewhere, I'll go down and my safety team will put me out. But it's just from learning how to do that, I'm there kind of going, I want to do this more often.
Is it like the monk? You know, the monk that set himself on fire, you try
yes.
be peaceful.
Yes. And it's a big thing. You really need to be in tune with your own mind. Because like I said, you have your safety team around you, they're expecting you to move a certain way. So once they know, okay, I know he's going to go 2 steps this way, I know he's going to go 2 steps this way, probably 2 or 3 steps back this way. They know exactly what I'm doing, and I have to be in that frame of mind. But because it's actually very, very peaceful being on fire. So like I said, it wasn't really being done in this country, and I know reasons why it has to be done in this country. So I just trained up for years and years, and I was like, you know what? I sent Owen over to the guys I trained with. He came back and says, we should try do this. We should try do more fire here. And then we got Marie involved. Marie's a great friend of mine, Anne Owens, and she trained with us for years. And we brought her onto the team because, again, when female stunt performers come along, when you're getting prepped for fire, you have to get down to your underwear. Yeah. So for females, I like to have a female member so they'll feel at ease.
A bit more comfortable.
Yes.
So it's just from there, the 3 of us have just worked. We have brought other stunt performers in and out to help us, but the core team will be us 3. We've just gone for the past 3-4 years just building our portfolio of fire.
Repertoire, yeah.
And that's some bit of detail, like you were saying, because I wouldn't have known myself, and I don't know about the other 2 guys here, but as you were saying, if you're training for a fire in like 2 or 3 days, you're saying for them 2 or 3 days prior to your take you're going to do, you're preparing, like you're organising. You're like, I'm gonna go here, here, and here. Like that's small detail that most people probably wouldn't know that you're going to do.
Like for instance, as you say, we were doing it hasn't come out yet, so we're doing a first scene on Valhalla season 2, and we're on a boat. So there's 2 boats going on fire, and there's 3 performers on each boat. I'm one of the performers going on fire, and for some reason they just decided to change boats on us. I think it was just it looked better. Yeah. But the boat they put us on was a bit smaller, and it moved an awful lot more.
Ooh.
So I knew when I get 2 steps to the side of the boat, I can react and I can play to the fire. But when I got put on the smaller boat, when I got to the side of the boat tilted a small bit. So I also have to have that in my head for my safety team as well, and other performers around me who aren't on fire. I was like, okay, this is safety not just for me, but it's also for them. You have to have that in your frame of mind as well.
That makes it a bit harder for you, like at last minute, like, as you were saying, change the boats around and stuff. And that's just harder doing that last minute for you, like.
It is, but the thing is, I have trained and I know that can happen.
Yeah.
So once I'm able to still stay calm, and I go, I still need to take 2 steps here. I know when I take 2 steps here, I can't react as much. Like you'd be afraid, oh my God, I'm on fire. I'll take that down a little bit, because the more I react, the more the boat could move, and I could endanger other stunt performers around me.
So you need to detach yourself from the environment. So if the director's shouting, someone's shouting, someone's arguing, that all has to be all out of your head.
That's all out of my head. So basically, as soon as the accelerant goes on me, my mind is, okay, the accelerant is on me, I'm going in flames in about 10 seconds. So when I go up, my job is to do exactly what I'm there to do. It's my 2 steps this way, 2 steps that way, and when I go down, my safety team put me out. After that, when I get up, that's when I'll take notes off a director or a producer or whoever's there to give me the notes.
Yeah.
There's a question I have, it's a cheeky question, right? When I'm watching TV programmes, sometimes I'm out of the mode because I'm seeing how things are filmed.
Yeah.
Do you find as a stunt performer, you may watch a film and you find your brains clicking on the stunt and going, how did they? I know how they did that.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan.
Yeah.
And like I can sit there and like they follow like the bathroom scene with him and Henry Cavill, and the fight scene they have with the 3 of them is, I can sit there and watch that all day.
I've never watched that one.
Have you not?
I don't like Tom Cruise. I hate him.
I love him.
You keep saying that.
I despise
So
him.
what are we doing here now, lads?
He's so so cocky, like.
I do get that. I do understand where you're coming from. His personal life, I don't agree with. But when it comes to his acting and it comes to his stunt side of things,
yeah, I give it to him. He doesn't need any stunt. He does
everything.
He
It's amazing how far he will take the stunts.
He defines the whole law of gravity.
It's unbelievable. He
Like,
could train 6 months for something.
how insurance companies kind of when they hear Tom Cruise, I'm like, oh, go, oh bollocks. Is I heard an interview with him. It was actually Matt Damon who was talking about it in the interview. Was like, it's amazing how like talking to Tom Cruise about a stunt, and his brand new coordinator was like, no, we can't do that, we can't do that stunt. And Matt Damon said to Tom Cruise, what do you do? He goes, got a different coordinator. They said, yes. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Like he just
But he is financing the film, so exactly, he has a lot of control in it.
It was for the scene where he's going off the edge of the building, the wire one.
Yes.
Where he's like up the side of the building.
Yeah, skyscraper one.
In Dubai.
Yeah. That was that stunt. They were like, not doing it. It's too dangerous, Tom. So basically, just got somebody else who would let him do it.
I have to be honest though, like I do love good CGI. Like there's some like Walking Dead has some fantastic early CGI, and good CGI you don't realise. But I do feel sometimes when you're watching, there is a difference when they do it in a practical way and a CGI way. I don't think the AI is up there to give the same effect.
Yeah.
Practical is always better.
Yeah. Like I have seen some, again going back to fire, I've seen some fire gags that have been on big Hollywood films and the CGI and like just doesn't look as good.
Even the natural movement of the person, how they would respond and all.
Like that's what I love when we're teaching this and we're doing it with other performers, is when they're like, okay, what way do they react? I'm like, the first basic thing is like, react that you're on fire. Like you are on fire, like have in your mind, obviously you know you're safe, we have you. But think of like, oh my god, there's fire come up my arm, my leg. You're trying to put it out. You're trying to get away from the fire, but you can't because it's around your body. Like sometimes when they do CGI it, the actor or the stunt performer that's been CGI'd before on them doesn't react like that because
they're not in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is there any stunts you watch, like as you say, you love Tom Cruise?
Yes.
So let's say some of the stuff he does, okay, because they are pretty extreme. But if you are watching that, would you think to yourself, no, I wouldn't do that. That's over the top for me. Like
some of the high fall stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done high falls, but I actually am afraid of heights. But again, it's when you're in a frame of mind of, okay, I need to do this, you can set the fear aside. But there is some stunts where he's like, I'm like, I don't know. I'd love to do that. I don't know if I would though.
Yeah. You don't trust yourself. Recently, I did co-steer them. Friend of mine, Bobby Marno, was a co-steer in NI, and you put your co-steer in. And he just does it in front of you, and he's doing it every day for so many months, and he just does it and trusts himself. I found it very hard to trust myself doing it. And then when you're not going in confident, you're not doing it right, and it's horrible. Like.
I have actually found from doing some smaller stunts, the easiest way to get hurt is hesitation.
That's
if you're literally about to jump off something and you know you have to jump and twist or jump and fall a certain way, you hesitate for a split second before that.
That's when you get injured.
That's when you get injured because your body, your brain just goes no, but your body's still going, and then you go through with the stunt, but you don't go fully the way you want to go.
It's like you've missed the
because your head's already thinking, I don't want to do this, but you're already gone for it. Like.
You're like somewhere inside you're mentally prepping, and so you have a natural impulse. You're like kind of going, okay, I've gone through it, I know the steps and whatever, and like you have the impulse. But if you miss the impulse, or if you and you do
if you
hesitate,
overthink it, like it,
if you're up in your head, then it's not gonna work. And that's kind of like a paradox, because you have to be in your head for some things, as in like you have to know the structure of this is how it's gonna go, and but like then you have to kind of trust it, like you put in the training and stuff like that, and don't miss that impulse.
There's a fear that comes with everything you do, and I think one of the biggest things you battle as a stunt performer is battling that fear of the thing. So talking about falls, you go up to your start mark and you're looking down, and then you go, whew, okay, we're going to do this. Now you train enough so that you know exactly what you're doing, and I think the question asking, what do you do things Tom Cruise is doing, I do it, yes, with training before. So one thing that's always instilled into you is you don't do anything you know you can't do 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
If you're trying something that you flukily did 1 time out of 10 on set, chances are that's not going to work and you're going to go wrong. So don't go for that.
The thing is, fear is irrational and fear is irrational. I spent years on a building site trying to not fall, and then you're told fall. Like I've had things shake under me and this and on a plank, and like someone tells you to fall, you go, but I've been
no.
brain. So it is a matter of conquering your own mind, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm starting my diving sort of focus now, high diving, and it is strange how much of the years of conditioning with stunt falls, how it's actually hindering me in my diving because it's the wrong technique. And I just have this habit of, I'm going off the top, I'm spotting where I'm landing, but that's causing me to over-rotate some ways, or I'm falling more naturally like I would with stunts. That's not how you fall with diving. So that's a new fear that I found that I'm trying to deal with now, is how to get over the fear of not doing it the way that I've been conditioning myself to do it for how many years. But I think with everything, there's a certain fear that comes with it. And like you're saying with the guy with the co-steering, I'm sure people look at us, and we get talked about all the time. People look at us going, aren't you terrified of lighting yourself on fire? And you go, no. Because we're so trained and we know exactly what we're doing.
He knows the depths. It's everything is health and safety.
Yeah.
So you have a thing and you have your helmet. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
So there's a respect for the stunt you're doing that has to be there. There's a safety that's there. And sure, there's a smidge of adrenaline fear, but it's not a scare. It's like, no, we know what we're doing. We know how fire behaves, and that only comes from training and experience and trust in everyone else around you and in your team, that you have all got my back and I've got yours.
Yeah. And it's level head as well. I think, there is no room for like BS in this. Like you can't fluff your CV when it comes to this sort of thing. You either like my motto is like over the years, like the guys have come to me and said, right, we need you to do this and this and this and this. Can you do this and this? And I go, guys, I know my limits, okay? I'm gonna give it a go, but I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna put myself on a set. Yeah, like I mean, I know you're laughing because like there's some examples, but like you will not, I will not, and I think it's a good rule of thumb. Like, do not put yourself on a set if you want to be taken serious. If you want to be taken as a professional, do not put yourself on a set if you can't do something and you've gone, oh yeah, I can do this, and then you turn up and you go, oh god, no, I can't, or oh no, I'm afraid of heights. So
I think it's a thing. There's people say fake it till you make it, but within stunts, that's actually calamity.
Yeah, because the coordinator, if he sees that you say you can do something and you can't do it, the coordinator will never hurt you again.
No.
And again, it could come with another coordinator and go, okay, what was he like? And he goes, he lied to me, he told me he could do this, but he can't. So it has a knock-on effect. So to say to a coordinator, go, I actually can't, I prefer not to do that. A coordinator will have more respect for you to say no than say yes and lie about it.
Yeah, like I've been called for jobs, like, and I've gone, I've waited until like I've actually had a chat with coordinators and they've kind of gone, they've said what it is, and I generally I would go like, now it hasn't happened a lot, but like I have had to call and say on a health and safety ground, here I have to bow out to this one or whatever, because I know where my training's at, I know where my abilities lie, and I think that's what all.
But is that not better that on the day they spend all this money?
Oh, absolutely.
And then it's a mess up, and then you've ruined whatever reputation you've built.
Exactly, and their day as well, because then they have a stunt performer stand there that can't do what they said that they could do. So yeah, like it's level head, common sense. But,
sorry.
Just when you're talking about fear is like, it kind of keeps you grounded as well, to kind of know your limitations and stuff. But like I never had an intention to go near fire. I seen him like working. I was working.
I still remember how I convinced her to do it.
He had a job. There was a film and he was called on to coordinate it, and he needed somebody to double an actress, and he rang me and he was like, yeah, no, you can. And I was like, I've never done this before, like I don't know. And like I knew he had, like, I mean, since I stepped in here like 6 years ago or more, like he was, I won't say playing with fire, but he was the fire guy, and I was like, that's crazy, I'd probably never do that. And he rang me and he basically was like, there's this job and I think you can do it, and I think if we have training and if we have rehearsals or whatever, I think you'll be up to it. And he was like, if not, don't worry, I can just have some, somebody else. And I was like, oh no, wait, I kind of want to do that, because I was like, I'm not, but yeah, it was, that was my introduction, and God, like, I mean, I'm so glad, like, because it's just, I'm like, you have a fear.
I'd say people have a strange reaction when, like, what did you do yesterday? I was set on fire.
Set on fire, yeah.
Like, I've done a lovely photo shoot here a few months ago, and I didn't think she'd do it, but I had her topless very, very done, very nicely and tastefully.
Yes.
And with another stunt performer, and it was one of the nicest things I've ever done. It was all skimboard on him and her, and it connects. And again, I love it. I
did that with them.
I've seen that you're kind of making it an art now. It's not even just film. I know you do it for scenes, but you're kind of trying to make it an art.
Yes, I love all that kind of stuff. It's like we done a sea burn back in February with Marie as well, and basically we had her in the ocean on fire.
Right.
So that was challenging, but it was
so.
Yeah, that was very
So like
artistic.
you couldn't splash around or anything. Like you had to be careful, did you?
Well, yeah. I mean, that was a very kind of personal project. It was more like a movement piece that I wanted to do, and it was very artsy as opposed to like your kind of like your you know, run of the mill like stunts and crazy fighting and whatever. But yeah, I had my steps. I had where I wanted to go. But on the morning, like, it's crazy. We went around and we rehearsed it 24 hours previous. The beach was like, the swell was a certain way. The water was moving. You know, the weather, all these kind of things. 24 hours later, I was up at like 3 a.m. because it was a sunrise shoot as well. So I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning listening to the howling wind outside. And I was going, oh my God, this isn't going to happen. And they just turned. So it was what it was. We had to just kind of roll with it. But yeah, I actually have yet to release that footage and post that. As I said, it was a very personal project at the time, but like that, you can take something like fire, you can take something really dangerous, and once you have it down, once we know what we're doing, like, and we trust each other, then you can start to, you know, kind of gear it towards your artistic side and kind of show your creativity and use it that way. But yeah.
And could I ask you, like, of all the people you worked with, who was kind of your favourite kind of actors for Dublin or working with? You know, that way? Your favourite?
I say my favourite had been Nick Frost. I doubled from Into the Badlands.
No way.
One of the nicest men you'll ever meet. I can remember sitting one time and it was snowing and it was really cold and we're waiting for the scene to start and we're sitting outside and we just sat and he told me about his child. I don't know if he has more since. I was talking about my 2 kids. He was a West Ham fan, I'm a Liverpool fan, and we just chatted for about an hour or two about football and kids, and he was just so down to earth. He's so funny. Yeah. What you see on camera is what you get with Nick Frost. There's no ego, there's nothing. He is just so nice and it's just a pure gentleman.
Yeah. And yourselves?
I was not doubling her. I was just working with her on the show, but for a couple of days. But Amy Huberman, she is just so lovely. Yeah, and she's really funny. Like she's so normal. Like, because like it's Amy Huberman.
Very
like,
clever though. Very working on it. She's doing a lot in the background and all.
Yeah. No, she's a pure not a grafter. But yeah, that was on Find the Joy a couple of years ago. But that was probably my favorite, and it was a fun TV show as well. Like it was, you know, it was a good crew and things like that. But yeah, that's my favorite.
I don't know. Matt Damon was really sound.
I've heard that.
He
loved going around colliding with a super value bag. He did. He was like, we're going around with a super value bag.
I was almost expecting, for being the name that he is, to maybe have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Of
course.
I don't know. Very sound. Almost to the point where, with the whole costume and the new hair, you wouldn't even really recognise him. And
we were actually standing beside him for about 10 minutes on the last show and we didn't know who he was.
For a whole day we were working right beside him.
Didn't even notice him.
Really?
Yeah.
And we were just chatting with him and tell you, Florence Pugh.
Oh, she was lovely actually. Yeah, she was
so nice to work with on that film. Because we were like looking after and there's a lot of fire going on. And it was hot. Like it was a lot of fire going on. You had to be on the ball. And you know, it's Florence Pugh, she's a big name, so you gotta make sure. But she was very, very cool.
She was just sound. Like she was genuinely sound. You know when you just meet somebody that's just
I think the difference is that people, we all have egos, but you kind of surround yourself with people that level your ego and help you. And I think some people become egomaniac and you forget that some people, it's their trade and they take it very seriously. I see that with a lot of English and Irish actors. They will have a laugh on set, but they know once they leave, they have a real world. And I think that's the difference. Some people surround themselves with a fake world and some people live in the real world. And as I've heard Matt Damon say, like, oh, he's a big Hollywood star, and he says, I'm not the boss in my house, I live in a house of women. You know what I mean? And that's the truth of life, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Because you want to go on set, you want to have you want to have a laugh too. Like when it comes to the work, you're professional, but at the same time, you like we were talking about like when we're doing fire runs with people. We're not. It's not a stress environment.
No.
It's not this like, oh my god. We make sure that we go. Well, part of our process, we keep people relaxed and we keep people calm, and we joke with them. We have laughs with them to the point where they then feel at ease.
Yeah.
You know. And if you don't have that, you're just going into a dangerous stunt, stressed out of your mind, and so you're not in the right place at all.
As long as they know they can trust you, everything's
Totally,
going to work out perfectly.
You're going to work with these people. You're going to work. You want to be able to be personable, you know.
But there is times when you're on set. Like I done a backburn on a guy on season 5 of Vikings, and it was very stressful because you have so many eyes on you, and everyone's kind of go, okay, you have to make sure this stunt performer doesn't get injured. So like where we can have fun and keep it nice and calm here, sometimes when you're on set you can't, because there's so many eyes and you go, okay, you have to do, you have so long, you keep a 45-minute window here. Everything has to be ready in 45 minutes. Like here we have an hour if we want. When you're on set you have a certain time frame, so you have to have that day. But it's great where I had, like I said, my team, and we know how well, and if I need something, it's there before I even ask for it. So that's what makes that a lot easier when I'm on set with my team.
Like as you were saying with Vikings, right? I'm pretty sure we all kind of done the whole. We used obviously the stunt team, but we done extra work on Viking as well. I didn't get into it until I think it was season 6 was the last part of it they were filming, and I remember we went out. I think we were shooting one of the last battles was what it was, and there was a stunt fella in front of me. Now I did obviously you don't pay attention to what the stunts are doing, right? But then you're going in, you're doing your fighting or whatever, right? But probably I was here and the stunt fella was probably just another 2 meters, not even as far from me, right? And the next thing you know, I just seen him go up in flame, and I'll never forget it, because I remember I dropped my sword, I dropped the shield, I dropped the sword, I didn't know, I was like, what's going on? I thought it was brilliant, like, and then obviously the scene out, but I thought it was great how quick and everyone in the background, how quick they got to him, how quick the fire got put out straight away. He got brought over or whatever else, but he had to do it the second time anyway. So done it again. I was prepared to see it, but I thought it was phenomenal looking at it. Like, you know what I mean? It's fantastic work. Like, and especially for all the people in the background who's really quick on getting to you, like, you know what I mean? That's one of the most vital parts for you, like, you know what I mean? We've had a good little chat with you guys and found out so many different interesting things, of little kind of details that we wouldn't even think about. So I think we're kind of gonna wrap it up a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm gonna chance my arm here and hope for the best, but I don't know, John. Would you fancy like doing some sort of stunt for camera?
Yeah, I can throw a fireburn on your arm, skin burn.
Would you be up for that?
I'd be up for that totally, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, we'll be right back.
And before I say anything else, I just want to say a big thank you to my friend Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Everyone say thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
It's when he found out I was in this podcast, he wanted a shout out.
Why?
Oh, big time, yeah.
What does Dave?
Do you want to hit Dave's Instagram or any of that?
He actually, surprised enough, he's not on Instagram or Facebook. So
it's like we don't know which Dave it is.
Dave Hannon Crash Repair.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe for 4 stories and 4 stories Dublin on our Instagram and our YouTube, and yourself, John.
Hank Stunts 2.0.
Hank Stunts 2.0. So anyone who's interested in doing any sort of stunts or just want to come down, take a look, or even get in contact with John himself, and it'll be fantastic to do. Like, so I'm excited. We're gonna see a little stunt. So fire! Take care. Brilliant. John has kindly allowed us to put mine and Paul's arm on fire. Now I'm just going to say this for the obvious sake: do not do this at home. We are being looked after by highly trained professionals here, so but if you do not do this at home. Yeah, this isn't Jackass, so don't do this at home. So
Never said enough.
yeah. You been nervous?
I love fire.
Yeah. Are you nervous though?
Not really, I love fire.
I'm a little bit nervous.
I love fire.
I'm a little bit nervous, but
I know they're going to do it safe.
Yeah,
that's why.
So boats now, it could go out, like I said, it could go out by itself.
Yeah.
But if you feel a thing called a pinch, the best way is, if you've ever been pinched before,
yes,
means that the gels, when they're together, the flame has got through somewhere. So the pinch, I call that, is like a 5-second warning before it actually touches your skin.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel just, okay, no, I don't like this. Just say ow. and Marie will put you out with fire. So just basically hold your arms out and she'll put you out with fire extinguisher.
Perfect.
Gels as well is like you can throw it all on a big clunk and it will be safe. But like for when it comes to camera work and you need a burn in front of the camera, you have to get it as light as possible. And obviously when you get it as light as possible, you won't last as long because there's not that much gels on you.
You can kind of look away from, you'll feel the heat of it.
You put how much on?
So again, feel a pinch ramp, just say out and we'll put you out.
And is it on?
Dean.
Dean, sorry, we actually never shook hands. Not the right time now, but just
Right. 3, 1, we're ready? 2, 3.
Like,
Follow, 4 Stories Dublin.
and subscribe. It's actually alright.
This feels nice. Okay, and out. Right, so as you've seen, old John here let us do a little stunt. I only got our arm put on fire, but fantastic. And I'm gonna say it again: do not do that at home for any sort of reason. We were watched by 3 professionals here, and we're very grateful that they let us do it. So we just want to say a big thank you to John, to Marie and to Owen for taking their time out of their Saturday to sit down with us, have a little chat, have a talk with us about the stunts, teamwork and stuff, and especially for letting us do that stunt. Like that's fantastic work. So yeah, we really appreciate you.
Said if you can give them a follow on Hank Stunts.
Hank Stunts
2.0.
Follow on.
Minty_90.
I know.
Oni _Poloni.
Brilliant. Don't forget to follow.
We'll put them under the description.
Don't forget to follow, and anyone that's looking to get into any sort of stunts or anything along that line, don't be afraid to give John a shout. He has the world of experience here, and I highly rate him myself. So, again, thanks again, guys.
And I just want to say thank you so much to Ollie. It's been great.
No, we appreciate you letting us down here. It's a big step for us for you letting us down here. So, again, we'll say thanks, and I think don't forget to follow the Hank Stunt team and 4 Stories at Dublin.
Instagram, yeah.
That's our Instagram.
And our
Don't
4
forget to
Stories
follow
YouTube.
Alright, so thanks again. Appreciate it, guys. Alright, no problem.
Till around you.
Right, so do you want to take pictures?